To call this meeting to order at 7 p.m.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening, here in person, and those who are watching us remotely as well. Thank you for your presence. And we have several things to get through, but first we had also someone, Annette Warsaw, are you here? Yeah. You going to pass? Okay. All right, thank you. Well, moving on, we have a quick presentation here from the Herff Jones representative, Jack, and Tori, or Jake, and Tori are here to give us a little update on the logo. Sure. Mm-hmm.
We're good. Can you hear me? All right. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jake Romano with Herff Jones and Illini Grad Sales. Thanks for having us here tonight. We are very excited to announce the official partnership between Herff Jones, Illini Grad Sales, and Blue Ridge School District. You can see on your monitor, we have a contract that starts beginning the year 2022 to 2023 for that graduation year, and we will be involved with helping improve the facilities, improving the graduation look and feel, and improving the general culture and feeling around the school and students, along with academic and athletic achievement. What some of this might look like, as you can see on the monitor, is improved caps and gowns, updated new mascot and logo for the school, as well as elementary and middle school, and then the new letter jacket program and design that will keep in step with tradition, but will not lose the feel of your history and your ability to recognize your students, but give them something that they take ownership over and allows them to rebrand to something that's more common to the new year dates and going forward in the future. So what this will look like for the branding, we do a lot of projects in the Central Illinois area that include facilities branding, as well as physical material branding for recognition items, as well as clothing, embroidery, and silkscreen. Our big wow piece for you guys tonight is to show and share what some of the branding is going to look like around the buildings and release the new updated logo, which I stress and will be very careful when I say this. It is not to change your logo. What we did is we updated it, improved the mascot to bring it into the 22nd century, but still keeps in step with tradition and you being very proud of who you are as Knights and making sure that it's still recognizable for the alumni, but again, refreshing and updating how that logo will look. So our first rendition really was very close to this, very related to it. It had a little bit more black into it. We had some concern about the amount of black that was in it, so we removed quite a bit of that, moved it more towards the blue, the white, and the gray, which are your primary colors for your school logo. Improved and gave more definition and defined things like the plume and the mask, still the same face, and gave him much more of a shoulder presence, makes him a little tougher as a Knight, a little more serious. He's going to battle after all, and we want to be successful on the field of battle for academics and athletics. So we think it's much improved, but still keeps in step again with your tradition and who you are, and you'll notice a lot of similar features that stay true to who the Blue Ridge Knights are. Just a couple of different versions of it, how it can look if we remove items, put items in place. The big key thing that you see over the face or the collar is the marquee, where it just describes who you are. The Blue Ridge Knights kind of give you your own font and make everything appear and stand out, clearly identifying who Blue Ridge really is. Tertiary and secondary logos are very important. As much as we love our Knight, it's not always a great opportunity to brand with the same logo repeated over and over and over and over again. You'll get a little sick and tired of it. So it's nice to incorporate other things that are popular with a Knight, how they share and show with who you are and what they may stand for, what your values are at the school, and some of the cool features and secondary options that go with a Knight, such as the mask, the shield, the swords, things that are tough and things that make sense to a Knight. What this could look like around the school, these are our initial mock-ups, and we're going to put on windows and doors around the area. This has a security feature for the school, also has thermal properties, and then it's also a big recognition piece and something that has had a lot of success in schools around the area. We have done this several times over, and it has been received extremely well. The students are impacted by it a lot, really enjoy seeing it, and enjoy and actually protect the school and take ownership over the school when they have these kinds of things around the building. They feel that it connects them with the building and with the with the high school, as well as with the community, demonstrating and showing who they are, and gives them something that they're proud of when they're playing for their hometown and competing against other schools. So just some more options of what we've done, what we've built. And you can see again the secondary logo with the BR, clearly identifying who Blue Ridge is, and then the Knights. We're very excited about this new partnership. We can't wait to get started. You guys will be seeing these changes coming soon, so look forward to them, and we're proud and excited to be a part of the Blue Ridge community. Just to give you guys a little bit of a historical background, or a future background, I guess. I am personally vested, as my sister-in-law and brother-in-law are part of this community, and we're extremely excited to be a part of that with them and have my nephew Brady come through this school system and be able to be proud of being a Blue Ridge Knight. So thank you for having us tonight. If there's any questions, we'll stick around for a little while in the back, and feel free to ask away. I'm sure the board may have some questions for us too.
Any questions for Jake? All right. For those of you here in attendance tonight, the wraps that would be going on the glass around the building, so they'll help with diffusing some of the lighting coming in. So that'll help with the heat, all that heat during the summer coming in. But, well, we're not in school in the summer, but when it gets hot. But the nice thing is that you can actually see out, but it's hard to see inside the building. So it's also a help for some security purposes as well. But looks really nice. Revisions on them. So tonight we get back to our exemplary nights. I'm sorry.
And a couple other updates I wanted to add that we asked Jake and Tori right away. Many of you know that our life skills program upstairs here at the high school does like a shirt shop for us, and we are able to have access to all of our logos, so we can still continue to use that in-house opportunity. And when we had the gym floor refinished, the new gym floor refinished, we left that center circle open, and we can have the same contractors come back in and add the new logo there. So.
Yes.
That's something that I want to make sure the board is good with, and then when we are ready for that, we'll find a flashy way to make sure everybody's aware. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Tori.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to our exemplary nights, we had to take a pause last month because of the breaks that we had, but tonight it's always a nice opportunity for us to recognize the exemplary actions that our students are doing in the district. And you brought attention to your teachers and to your principals, and as a Board of Education, we appreciate your efforts and excellence, and we want to thank you for a job well done. Some of the students weren't able to be here this evening, and maybe they're watching virtually as well, but I'm going to call names. I'm going to ask for the students to come forward. Whenever we have all the students forward, then we give them applause, and then opportunities for us to take a picture, and then for the families who have came here with your child that you can come and take a picture as well. We appreciate you as parents as well, helping your students and your children to become the best that they can be. This time I'd like to see here who we have. I'm sorry? Yeah, we'll go with the taller kids and then work for Blue Ridge High School. We have Ava Jameson here this evening. Camilla Buchanan. And then in 8th grade, we have Ivy Whitehouse and Carmen Ellis. Thank you. 7th grade, we have, I think, Brianna Light is not here this evening. Hopefully she hears virtually. But we have Carly Summers here as well this evening. The 6th grader is represented by Emma Johnson. A 5th grader, Colton Prother, is not able to be here this evening. But in 4th grader, we have oh, all right. Snuck in. 4th grader, we have Felicia Butler. In 3rd grade, we have Rosalind, is it Fredin? Fredine, I'm sorry. 2nd grader, we have Ella McIntyre. 1st grader, Brantley Clark. And kindergarten, we have Brennan Soliday. Let's see, can we get a picture here, Ryan? If you need to come up and get a picture real quick. Thank you. You may be seated. Whenever you get the monthly newsletter from the district, and also you can see about all the descriptions about each one of the students who've been recognized tonight and the qualities and what made them stand out to their teachers and to the principals of the building. It's always neat to read those stories about who they are, how much they've grown. We also have some staff here, exemplary night staffs, and you've been recognized by your peers for your exemplary work. And as a Board of Education, we want to thank you for your efforts and positive impact upon Blue Ridge School District. We have this evening with us, I think everyone, First one, Snyder Elementary. Michelle Wills is not able to be here. So maybe she's here virtually. Thank you, Michelle. We have from the Blue Ridge Intermediate Junior High School, we have Erica Duvall. You can come up front, please. Yes. From the Blue Ridge High School, we have Colleen Pollen. And from the district, we have Deborah Field. Okay. If you come up here and stand, please. All right, thank you very much. We also have a presentation here this evening from the Goose Creek Wind Farm, and I think Josh Hartka is here tonight.
Hi, everybody. Really thanks very much for your time this evening. My name's Josh Hartke. I am the Illinois Field Manager for Apex Clean Energy. We are a developer of large-scale wind and solar projects all across the country. I can see you guys got a huge agenda tonight and a packed house, so I'm going to be as brief as possible, which is easy to do because I've got a lot of good news for you about our project. Apex Clean Energy, we're a developer of large projects, utility scale, multiple megawatt. We work from New Mexico to New York, all over the country. This is the team kind of working on the project called Goose Creek, which is in the northern part of Piatt County. Apex is working all over Illinois. As you can see here, we've got a number of projects under construction. A couple of the green ones are ones that are already operating. Orange is solar projects, blue is wind projects, spread out all over the state. So we've got a pretty good experience and track record here in Illinois of bringing projects to market. Here's a little information on how wind energy works. Basically, it's just like any other generation of electricity. You turn a magnet inside a coil and you generate an electric field. As you can see, it's very old technology. The Romans used it to grind grain, so it's not something that's brand new in the country. Goose Creek itself is a project in the northern corner of Piatt County. We have more than 50 families who are all signed on to the lease. Everyone who joins us as a leaseholder is completely voluntary. We are not a utility. We don't have eminent domain or anything like that. Everybody is joining in. They sign leases with us. These are long-term leases that are 30 years that stay with the ground, stay with the project. No matter who owns the ground or who owns the project, that lease stays with it. It's binding for as long as the terms of the lease are. As part of what we do in the community, we do a lot of landowner outreach. We do community outreach. That's why I'm here talking to you folks. We regularly talk to county boards, village councils, the Rotary Club, every group that's willing to listen to us. The Farm Bureau is one of our favorite folks we visit with. As part of developing one of our projects, we go through quite a number of studies. That's kind of in the phase that we are right now with this. We look at all kinds of bat habitat, avian habitat, raptor nest surveys, so we're looking for eagles, hawks, everything like that, to make sure that where we place these turbines is as safe for the environment and for animals in the community as we can. This is a map just kind of showing the wind resource in the state of central part of Illinois. As you can see, this is the very best number that you get there, the best color. That's why northern Piatt County is where we want to build this project. It's got a great resource. Wind is like every other natural resource. It's something we can tap into to generate electricity. If you had coal under the ground, if you had oil under the ground, you'd be looking at that. But you folks have great wind, and we want to tap into that to generate electricity. With each one of our projects, we do an economic impact study. That's the numbers I'm going to talk to you about tonight. These studies are done by Dr. David Loomis, who is a member of the faculty at Illinois State University. He has 20-some year experience developing these kinds of projects, working with estimating what the revenues and what the generation of jobs and things are going to be with each one of our projects. And here's kind of the good news. So as Goose Creek Wind is developed, we look forward to seeing 300+ jobs during construction. Those are going to be very local jobs because of the new energy bill in Illinois. All those jobs are union, so that means those will be guys working out of local labor halls, local IBEWs, local Teamsters and everything. 12 new long-term jobs in operations for Piatt County, so those are the wind turbine guys that are out there every day checking on the general maintenance, making sure they're operating properly. We also usually hire an office manager as well as a project manager, and that's a pretty good job. Those guys make more money than I do. The community earnings, we talk about $17 million during construction. That's money spent in the community during construction time. And the $1.5 million in annual earnings, those are basically what we pay to landowners for signing on to our projects, for getting the turbines. Also, we pay folks who maybe not get a turbine but live in the community and in the area and want to join our projects. We sign them on, because we want to be able to share the benefits of these projects with everybody we can. Now, the really good numbers, especially for you folks, is talking about tax revenue. So wind turbines are taxed in Illinois just like any other real estate, especially commercial real estate. You build a factory, you're going to be paying taxes on the property taxes for that. We do for wind turbines, and it's measured per megawatt. So Illinois has a direct EAV value for per megawatt of wind energy, and it's right now almost $500,000. So this is increased EAV, as superintendent always loves when I talk the lingo. It's increased EAV for your county so that it is a new source of revenue for schools, for taxing districts, all the way up and down the scale to the tune of $77 million over the 30-year life term of the project. The project is, every one of our leases is 30 years with 2 10-year extensions. So we'll be generating electricity not just for 30 years, but hopefully for 50 years. And each one of those years we pay taxes. And for the 30-year lifespan estimate, it's $77 million. The total for Blue Ridge School District out of that is about half of it, about $35 million over the life of the project, starting at $1.86 million in year one. These things are done on a depreciation scale. So in the first year, it'll be $1.86 million. It starts to taper off a little bit. About year 20, it hits its low point, about $800,000 a year, and then it starts to taper back up as inflation starts to exceed the depreciation. Just a couple other numbers too that we'll be paying. So around $5 million in revenue over that 30 years to Parkland College, which is, I think, you guys' main community college district. And I know you have a lot of students who then go there. And around $7 million in revenue to road districts in that time. And being a rural school, we know how important that is for maintaining your buses and getting students to school on time. So that's just kind of the tax numbers with this project coming towards you folks when we get her under construction. One other thing we do is we do a community grant program. And we've contributed over $85,000 to programs in Piatt County, some with local school districts. We've done a couple of small gifts with you guys. That's going to continue. It's around $10,000 every quarter we award. Superintendent Stanifer has some info on that. We're happy to have any student groups you have that are looking for a grant to help them do something in the up to $5,000 to $10,000 range, even smaller groups like that. We're happy to find ways to fund those as a way kind of to pay forward this tax revenue that we're talking about in the coming years. And then kind of one other thing we did, we gave a $60,000 donation to Eastern Illinois Food Bank. So there is a truck that serves Piatt County that will be over here that has our logo on it. So when you see that, that's what we did there. There's some stuff in here on constructing a wind farm. Like I say, I'm going to try and be brief. But one thing I really do like to emphasize is on roads. We sign a road use agreement with the county that is also a road use agreement that brings in all the township road commissioners. That determines exactly how we use the roads, what condition they'll be in before we go on them, what condition they'll be in when we leave. It's to the tune of quite an extensive amount of money usually, and because we know how important that is, we know that when a wind turbine project is built and it has a bad reputation, about 90% of the time it's because of a road problem around that project. So that's one thing that the industry is really trying to step up on. And we know that's, again, important with you guys because of buses and so on. So I'll kind of wrap up what I have for you directly. I would love to answer any questions you may have about the project, about where we're coming up with those numbers.
A question for you, Josh. You said on your papers you're hoping 2023 to be operation.
Yes.
Where are you at as far, you have 50 families signed on. How many turbines is going to be in that farm, and how many people have actually signed up for turbines?
Yeah, so the number of people that's the number of families. The total number of acres is somewhere around 20,000 acres. What the shape of the project is ultimately determined by who participates. So, where the turbines will be, like between school districts, across, township districts, will be because of who chooses to participate. That's where we'll build. This project is slated to be 300 megawatts. We don't know exactly how many turbines that'll be because technology is changing, and we don't know exactly what size those individual turbines will be, but more than likely they'll be probably in the 4 megawatt range, which puts this in around a 70 turbine project. So there'll be about 70 towers, and they'll be, like as I showed in that original picture, kind of in the northern tuck corner of Piatt County.
So we're talking from the 136, kind of south of 136 down, how far south, past South Mansfield?
Yeah, about Mansfield. We are going to be a little south of Mansfield. Again, it's still not completely shaped out yet, but it depends on who joins. But yeah, that's about the southern border of where it'll be. Your school district is kind of getting the lion's share. Monticello was going to get a piece of it, as will DeLand. But you guys are, you know, the way you guys have had more folks who live within your school district want to participate and want to get turbines, so that's where they'll be.
So where's your hurdle at?
The real hurdle is we're going to be coming to county permitting this year, probably in June, give or take a month or two on either side. That's where I kind of come to my one ask I have for you guys, because I know you had a letter of support for Sapphire Sky in McLean County. We're jealous of that. We'd love to have the same support for Piatt County. The benefits are the same kind of project, the same kind of numbers. And you guys are close enough to McLean County to know some of the school districts up there that have had projects built and the numbers that are coming in. I talked with Superintendent Stanifer the other day, but I also spoke once with the superintendent up at Leroy, Superintendent Tipsword, and 3 other school districts had gotten projects in McLean County, and he hadn't gotten one. And he was like, thank goodness you guys are finally here. I need one of these, because they really do bring great revenue for communities.
Okay. Is there anyone on the board that has a question? I know, Annette, you've been raising your hand there. Did you? Okay.
They are private leases, but they are all recorded with the county recorder's office, so they are all on file at the county recorder's office. I don't have a direct list of that myself, but that you can search them at the county courthouse for sure. Yeah, so there are no set locations at all yet. We have to finish another round of conversations with the FAA, with NORAD, and like I say, we're finishing up a few landowner conversations to get them on board, and once they get on board, then we're going to know a lot more solidly. I would say by May, so before we come to permitting, we will have everyone cited, because they get individually cited where they are, and we're hoping to have that in the May to August period to be able to come before the county board with permits.
I think, Annette, as well, too, is my understanding of wind farms are, even though there may be 50 families sign up, not every family's going to have a turbine on their ground.
Yeah.
It could be access with a line going underneath for
Yeah.
power. It could be access roads, or if your land is butted up against someone who has a turbine, you can also be signed up to get compensated for that as
Yep.
well a little bit.
All of that. And even like small property owners who own like 2 or 3 acres with a house property on it will sign a good neighbor agreement, which will bring them some kind of benefit from the project. Sure.
Do you have a project right now that you can tell us, the school district, that we could contact and find out about?
Let's see, the current yeah, ones that are already in the getting the money in the, so Hoopston Wind is a project of ours in northern Vermilion County. That project sold some years ago, but they are still receiving that. We have one under construction right now in Ford County, and actually Paige and I were just up there today to visit that site. It'll be turning before the end of the year, so next year they'll be getting their revenue. And you know, there are other companies' projects in McLean County, several school districts up there that are several years old that have been turning a while, so they've been generating. So they, you know, we're all held by the same state laws, and we're all held by the same county ordinances. The Illinois projects that Apex currently has running, the only other one is over in Morgan County, and it's been operating since, I think, 2016. Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you guys had a wind farm in Houston, but you sold it.
Yes. Well, it's a industrial asset. It's, you know, it's like any business. There is a financial choice at what point you can make more money by selling something than operating it. One thing I can say is that Apex was recently purchased by, my company was purchased by a much larger financial asset management company called Ares Management. They actually own these projects. We were a smaller company and didn't always own them because we didn't have the financial resources to hold a $250 million asset. But this company does, and so what that means is that there's going to be a much clearer pipeline from our development to the ownership process. And just to reemphasize, as I said earlier, all leases signed, when you sell a project, those leases go right with it. They're all still binding. State law is still binding. County ordinance is all still binding. So it does change ownership, but that rarely really changes any of the benefits or or issues surrounding the project. Okay, there's several things in place for that, and I agree with you for bid. But there are 3 levels of protection, basically. One is state law, so we sign what's called an IEMA with the Department of Agriculture that determines that, and in there's very specific language about what they call depowering or decommissioning a project. Then within Piatt County, the county ordinance has some very strict rules about how that is handled. And then with each individual lease owner, there's very specific language about that. And now let me explain how that works. So when each project is built, before the first bit of construction is done, as part of the financing to get it constructed, we put a bond or a letter of credit or sometimes even an escrow account in a certain amount of money that is determined by state law that covers complete removal of that turbine down to 5 feet. And that money's set aside at a third-party bank. That money sits there. It is reevaluated, I think, every 5 years as to whether it's enough. And then money has to be put in or taken out depending on whether it is. So that money's sitting there. The beneficiary of those bonds is, number 1, the county. So it'll be Piatt County that'll be the number 1 beneficiary. And number 2 would be the individual landowner. So that if we go out of business and Piatt County completely collapses, even the individual landowner can pull upon that money to have all that stuff taken out. And it's secured. It's also usually managed by an investment company, so it has an accrual in the account where it sits.
All right, just a reminder, use your button on your microphone. All right. No further questions. We appreciate your time, Josh.
Absolutely. Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying, David, to get them to push the buttons on their microphone. Yeah. We're moving forward on our technology report this evening. Is this report guaranteed to give us about 1.8 million a year? All right.
I do have a fun surprise, though. Yeah. Hello, can you hear me okay? Yeah. Hi, everyone. Andrea Weedman, Technology Coordinator, here with Dave Kramer, Network Specialist, and we have a +1 hiding behind. Can you show us your face, Doug? Welcome. We're so appreciative to have him. He's had a great start for us so far, so thank you for that. That was last month that took place, and we're just beyond glad. So we have our yearly technology presentation, and usually we get up here, we talk about some highlights, and then we talk about our year to come. We're going to change it up just a little bit because all of that is in our report. I did hear tonight that was like a novel this month. So if there's anything that you'd like us to go through, please just ask. If you want us to talk about more details or whatever, we're happy to do so. So tonight we're going to talk about, this is my first little piece of news that it does involve money coming to us. So I just got this information across my email this last week. The FCC put through a $17 billion project to close the homework gap. And so I would say this was probably back in September that I applied for the Emergency Connectivity Fund for our district. And I just received notification that they are awarding us $38,804.46. This is similar to E-rate in the sense that not everything is fully funded, but out of this list, the 3 items listed, 2 are fully funded. So they're going to be providing our jetpacks, which is our hotspots for our students, as well as the service for 1 year, total cost of $17,275.20. They're going to be paying $4,000 toward connected devices, which have the Wi-Fi built in that could be checked out by an administrator, staff, or student within the district. And then we have 50 replacement end-of-life Chromebooks that they're going to be funding. So that was a fun surprise and some good information for you guys that I thought I would pass along to you tonight. Here's another item that I really am hoping to put you to work on a little bit, and that is coming up with just a little bit of how you want to narrate our positive message for our district in our new district website. So within the next it really could be the next month. We kind of have to pull the trigger and say, hey, we want this, final language to be done. And it's a process because there's a lot of people that touch this website and put information out on it. So streamlining it is really important for our family members and our community. And I know it's been a topic of conversation amongst our strategic planning as well. And so I want to show you the preview of the new site, and that's why I was asking the Herff Jones guy, like, can I have your logo? Because we need to get that on there. So here's the preview of our new site, and you can see that we have changed things up. It doesn't look entirely different, but it definitely has some different gallery images, placement, items up here in the top right corner are different. So we're taking that banner down that you see on the Blue Ridge 18 website, which appears up here, and we kind of put that in place when remote learning started because we needed a central location that would be very visible to parents. And so we're taking that away and sort of keeping it more simple in this top area. And then as you scroll down, you can see we have our hashtag overlay on the student pictures or on the gallery pictures. And then you can see we have a lot of what looks like the same here. So what we've done is we've talked to Apogee and we've asked them to provide some different news images that can be used, whether it be the high school, Schneider Elementary, the intermediate junior high, so that this doesn't all look the same. Because right now, every time somebody posts news, they're using the same image. And so they're going to be providing us with a set of hopefully 5 for the high school and maybe just a couple for the intermediate junior high and Schneider because they're not posting as much news. So we have our news section, and then as you scroll down, we've got events listed and a new area called programs. So this area features some programs that are specific to our district. This was when we met for our technology committee meeting, we discussed what are the programs we would like to feature. And so this was our first draft. I'm still thinking about other programs that we could possibly include and how to bring attention to those specific programs. And this is where I'm hoping to get your guys' help. So we have another school example here who uses the same designer that we do. And they have, under their gallery, they have an About Us section. So this is a section, this is a private school, so obviously it's a little different than a public school. But basically, this is their way to tell their story. So I'm hoping we could utilize something similar to this in telling our story. So they've got a little blurb about their school, and then they highlight some specific pieces that they're proud of. So I liked that idea. I thought, for the strategic planning and the communication that we'd like to promote, I think it would be wise for us to take advantage of that. So in thinking about that, where's my clicker? Thanks. Can you click me? In thinking about that, these are the things that I decided that were perhaps focuses that we could have. So in our About Us section, I think it would be great to include our new mission statement. They had a little blurb about their school, their Catholic school. I thought for now we could maybe use a placeholder of something that we've used in the past, which is the 3 great communities, 1 great district. And then these are 4 different areas I thought that we could highlight, but I would like to see more there. So as board members, I don't know if there's something that stands out to you that you think that we could, put in one of those placeholders to kind of tell our story as a district. But I would be open to hearing from you, and maybe you could think of something that I'm not thinking of, and I know our administrators are thinking of those things too. Or maybe there's somebody in the audience tonight that has an idea.
So what I've got for you tonight is a project proposal of sorts. Pretty major project proposal, but something that I've been working on for honestly since I started here 4 years ago, and that's a network refresh. And so what that means is the networking equipment that we use here in this building encompasses a lot of different things. So it's cameras, it's phone systems, it's connectivity pieces, all kinds of different devices that really build and make up the network for all the buildings on all the different locations and campuses that we have. The issue that we run into with those devices is that some of them are getting kind of old. For instance, the phone system was installed just over 10 years ago, but at that time it was already about 6 years old. So there's a piece of equipment that's really pushing, the end of life. Voicemail is not going to be working or supported anymore. Some other things that aren't going to be supported in the near future because of the age of the system. Another issue that I ran into when I started looking closer at our network setup is the cost. The core network components that connect all the devices on the network cost us roughly about $26,000 a year in licensing fees from the company that designed them and makes them. Some other things that were concern. We've made some updates to the system. Most of the equipment is still considered end of life, so we've got some parts of the core network that are also, again, end of life. They're not really viable at this point any further. And then we've also had some key components. Just recently, we had a couple of door security pieces that failed that we really can't replace at least for an economical price. So there's some updates that are needed, and basically that means updating the core network, the wireless access points, security cameras, door access controls, phone system, and some other sign-on pieces. So if that sounds like a lot of stuff, it is. So the reason that we're doing this, we're looking to update feature sets. A big part of it is to enhance the security. That's a big push, not just for the school district, but for the State Board of Education. Everybody is really pushing enhanced cybersecurity to protect ourselves and our students and their data, and this would go a long ways to allow us to do that. Another big component of it is annual cost savings. The work that we're talking about doing here, as you'll see in a minute, does afford us quite a bit of cost savings and to give us some additional room to grow. So the proposed system, I'm not going to bore you with all the details of what all those pieces are, but those are some of the things that we would be replacing. Here's some pretty pictures of them. They're beautiful, aren't they? So the results of it would be lower cost of ownership for the district, improved feature sets. We would have what's called single pane of glass access to all the systems, meaning that we could, if somebody needs me to change a camera setting or a door access control or something like that, we would be able to access all of that stuff from one single console that we would log into rather than having to go to separate different systems to be able to make changes. And then we would also be able to integrate all of the different types of identities that we have, from door fobs to voicemail to signing on to computers to Chromebooks. All of those things would be able to be integrated together to make maybe fewer passwords and things like that people have to remember. So some of the dates that I'm looking at or that I'm proposing to get this system installed and get it up and running. Currently we're doing testing on phones. I should have that completed by no later than April. Have all of the different phone systems tested and figured out which one's going to be the best. But the current licensing that we have on all of the network devices on the network ends in 2023. So at that point, in February 2023, we have a choice. We either buy more licenses or we replace the system before then. The installation window, if we decide to go forward with it, would be this summer, June through August. We'd want to have everything completed by August 1st. That way, we wouldn't be impacting anything with school. We need that time between the 1st of August and the start date of school for getting things ready for the students to come back. Any leftover system installs, so if we decide to push off some portion of the system to a later date. It would still need to be done before that February timeframe, but we would push it off to probably the winter break, meaning we'd have everything done by December 31st. And the replacement of all the equipment and everything would obviously have to be done by 1st of January for when the students come back. So for some of the numbers, to install the system would cost about $76,000. We really wouldn't have any labor costs outside of just my time and Doug's time and Andrea's time if she so lends herself. Annual recurring cost would be about $9,600 for the phone system. There would not be any licensing costs with the new system that's being proposed. So annual savings, the phone system minus what the new system would cost us on a month or on an annual basis would save us about $13,400. The hardware licensing fees would save us the $26,500 for a total per year savings of about $40,000. And along with that, the equipment that we have in place right now does have a monetary value. Some of it can't be sold right away because of agreements that we have with E-Rate. Some of it's already past those dates and can be sold, and we can recoup our money from those. But some of it we have to hold on to, some of it up to 4 years before we can get rid of it. But as of right now, estimates for the equipment that we have in place, we would recoup approximately $90,000. So more than enough to pay for what it would cost for us to actually replace the equipment that we have in place right now. So that was a lot.
It was very descriptive in the board book. If you read that, I appreciate the detail. It really helps us understand exactly what you're wanting to do, cost, the savings and stuff, so we appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I turned my mic on.
Yeah. Great.
Do we know any other school districts that are using this system and their experiences?
Yes. One that's using it right now that I know for a fact is Gibson City. Yep. And they've had it in place, not all of it. I don't think they've had the phone system in place. And I don't know about the door access controls, but I do know that they use all the core network components. And they've been using it for, I want to say 3 or 4 years and have had no issues with it.
The phone system, how many, was it just be in the administration, district offices, or?
All of them.
Right,
Yeah.
'cause and I know with the VoIP phones, there's a whole different system. It's going to take a lot of patience for people to even understand it, how to work it, a lot of training to go on with that, because it's not just people have been using the same system for years here. And how do I transfer people? How do I put people on hold? How do I even get my voicemail? How do I change my voicemail greetings and all these things?
Right. Actually, the nice part about this is that the system that we're proposing is pretty much all visual. So it's touchscreen. For instance, when you make a call, when you want to transfer it, there's a button that pops up on the screen that says transfer. You push the button and it transfers the call. Most of it's pretty simple. It's not as intimidating. In my opinion, it's not as intimidating as the system that we have now, where a lot of the functions that you have to use with the phone system, you need to remember codes and key sequences and things like that. The new system kind of eliminates a lot of that. So, and as far as the difference between a VoIP system and the system that we have now, or the voice over IP versus what we have now, the system that we have now is kind of a hybrid voice over IP system. So in the building, it's voice over IP. Outside the building, it's not, and that's why it costs us so much money, because we really have a standard phone system outside the building. Within the building, it's voice over IP. So by eliminating that standard phone system cost, that's what really saves us a lot of the money.
Any questions, further questions? All right, appreciate it.
All right,
Thanks for your
thank
hard
you.
work. Moving on to communications, do we have anything there?
FOIA request from Illinois retired teachers. That's an annual request to get names and emails of retiring teachers that was filed in a timely fashion.
And the facilities committee met this evening.
Yes, we met at 6 o'clock. Doug Workman, our new O&M supervisor, was there, along with the 3 gentlemen to my left over there. We talked about the draft HLS 10-year review that was covered with Doug and myself from our district engineer and architect. We We looked at all the items that were listed. We have A-list items that are safety hazards that are required to be fixed within 1 year, and we have a number of things on our B-list item, which should be done within the next 5 years, and then they also give some C-list items, which are recommended items. And as they say in their world, if you don't take care of a C item, it will become a B or an A item before you know it. So we will talk a little bit about bond counsel later tonight, but I've already informally spoken with bond counsel. With the way the report is in its draft form, it looks like about $2.5 million worth of work. A lot of the big ticket items would include the roofing of this building, the roofing of Snyder. Those are some of the biggest ticket items. Some C-list items were the chillers, the big chiller and the small chiller in this building. And then we've all heard a lot of talk about HVAC. We are looking to do phase loss protection on the Daikin units over in Mansfield. So those are some of the bigger ticket items that we have. A lot of our work is fire doors, making sure doors are closing correctly, strobe lighting, things like that. So some of the work can be done in-house, and Doug will work with his crew to try to tackle some of those things this summer. A lot of that will have to be bid out because the projects are large. So we'll work on timing. I think the roofing project at the earliest would be summer of '23 to try to get that going. But we'll have a lot of different projects going out for bid and getting things started. And so we talked about tonight having maybe another meeting with the facilities committee in a couple months to see where we stand and how quickly. So the clock for HLS doesn't start until it's in the site at ISB and things are approved. And like we said, there are no A-list police that come out and check to make sure it's done within a year, but you are supposed to do your very best to try to get those things done. And if supply chain is an issue, they understand, but you have to do your best to get them done.
Right. And moving on to administrative reports, Dr. Stanifer, you're up.
Okay, that would be me. So we spent a lot of time this last week with the temporary restraining order information. And I just wanted to say that while the TRO was not legally binding for our district because we did not have anybody who was named in that suit, we went with the information after speaking with board members and listening to a lot of advice through attorneys for the district and through IASA, the Illinois Association for School Administrators. We went with a recommended masking policy. Since then, I believe it was just yesterday that JCAR has done some ruling about the masking and the mitigation. So conversations will continue, but it appears as if districts will not be doing masking. So I think we're going in the direction that the entire state will be going in. I do want to mention that we are very respectful of those who want to be wearing masks and choose to for their choices. And we have done a lot of announcements in our buildings, especially at the high school level, making sure that people understand that that's a choice that we want to absolutely respect, that everybody can make individually. One of the things that we have not moved back yet is our seating at lunchtime. And we talked about that today and decided let's wait and see what this JCAR ruling does in the districts. And I like to get advice from neighboring districts and seeing what they're doing. If we start moving the seating back at lunch right now and then have to move it back again, it's just one more change that you have to undo. So students are still having seating that's a little bit further away that we've been doing for, a year and a half now. So we'll address that fairly soon, I believe. So that's most of my report, and then I did want to cover with you strategic planning. We said our goal was to bring a new draft sub-goals for you each month, and so some of what Andrea spoke about tonight goes right along with our goals. So our goal that we developed in October for strategic planning, number 3, we were talking about student achievement and curriculum, and goal 3.1 that was developed that day was to redesign the website to be more user-friendly for parents and the community. So we have 2 sub-goals to go along with that we would propose. The technology coordinator, in cooperation with the superintendent, will work to update the graphics, organization, and content of the district webpage. So Andrea's a go-getter, and she's getting us started on that even before we have our goals finalized. And then sub-goal 3.1.2, the superintendent, unit office secretary, technology department, and principals will complete a quarterly updating, archiving, and organizing process for website maintenance. So we probably all have that messy place in our life. At least I do. For me, it's a purse. And sometimes when I am posting things on the webpage, there's a lot of things that go there, so I can link them and send them out. But then you have a large collection of things. So we're trying to be more diligent about knowing where our folders are and making sure that they're cleaned up. So we thought if we add that to our quarterly list, that would be helpful. And then the second goal that you had given us in October was to provide updated curriculum, such as honors classes and dual credit classes. So Paige has already started working on this, but the goal that we're, sub-goal that we're suggesting to you would be that the curriculum coordinator, in conjunction with high school administrators and counselors, will explore opportunities and feasibility to offer honors, dual credit, and EFE courses. EFE means Education for Employment. We would try to offer those courses at Blue Ridge High School. That would not be an August of 2022 project. That would be most likely an August of 2023 project, because it takes some time and some training to get those things done. So that's what we would like to bring to you. Not looking for approval right now, but just any thoughts that you might have. We're hoping that what we suggested to you meets the goals that you were looking for.
Questions on that? Comments? Appreciate that. Moving on to Ryan's next.
All right, I will share a few announcements tonight. The first two, you may see some signs across the district in all three communities with two events that we have coming up. One is the pre-K screenings that we have March 31st and April 1. So if you have a 3 or 4-year-old or a student that does not turn 5, or it turns 5 after September 1, please call the office so we can get that set up. We're excited for a new group of individuals to come into our building next school year. Along those same lines, kindergarten registration is March 8th. That is also an important day for us. A couple of things happen there. It's a great opportunity for parents to kind of see, get into the building, hear a little bit about some of the processes and practices that we have within the building. Also gives us an idea of kind of enrollment numbers. So it's good to make sure we get families coming in early and often so we can plan for that. A couple of other things that I had on there. We are doing junior achievement lessons, and for some of you who don't know what that is, we've been doing them for a few years now. Last year we took a hiatus due to COVID, but those are basically lessons that focus on financial literacy. So we have an individual coming in, Ms. Connie Unra, who's done a great job, and basically comes in to teach a variety of lessons based on Illinois learning standards that really focus on financial literacy and economics. So it's a lot of basic things, wants and needs, making decisions, money, basic vocabulary terms, but it's just a good way to kind of build that set of skills and knowledge for our students so they'll be good consumers hopefully later on in life. Additionally, just a few things to go over. Some of you may have seen the five essential survey information. I know it's been out a couple of times via Thrill Share and Apogee. It'll be coming out again here soon. It's been in some of the newsletters. If you would please take some time to fill those out. It's great to get that parent feedback. It really looks at kind of 5 areas that are essential to high productive schools, it's basically, and student achievement. So we would love to get some information from parents that helps us kind of plan for school improvement planning. Right now we only had about 1% of our parents responding, so I'd just love to get some more information if possible. It helps us kind of plan and work on our school improvement plans. Additionally, sorry, I didn't want to take Paige. I hope I didn't take that away from you. That's your thunder, maybe. PIE, I wanted to recognize and thank them, and one of them left already, but for Miss Jenny Bateman, they've been doing some amazing things for us just in the last week even. I mean, Friday we had Super Bowl Sunday, where, a bunch of community members, brought in soups and sundaes and so on to feed staff. It's greatly appreciated. They just made a generous donation to our building to fund our gotcha store. So hopefully when we get some of this branding stuff, basically they've helped fund to get some items for our store that really are pushing the school pride piece with the Knight logo and some different things that kids can take home and just kind of be proud for who they are and where they go in that community. So we're happy about that. And then they put together some really cool supply kits, which you'll be seeing soon. And that's just a great kind of easy way for parents. Hopefully, I know sometimes going back to school can be a stressful thing, and you don't have to go out and do some shopping that's already pre-made. You just buy them and you can, it's easy. So we're very thankful for PIE and all they do to support our students, our community, and our staff. So that's it. That's all I have. Any questions? Abrupt ending, I know.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Katie, you're up.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I have a few things to highlight. I wanted to touch very quickly. I had a lot of things in the report about Comeback 2022, but one other highlight, Dr. Stanifer, Mrs. Trimble, and myself are going to meet with Abby Lyons tomorrow afternoon. That's our SEL coach, and to plan the next steps. And also, I wanted to congratulate our Scholastic Bowl team. We have that record number of students out this year for that, and they have back-to-back victories. They beat Ridgeview last week, and they just came away with a win against Holy Cross this week, so they were very excited when they got back. And then last but not least, we have a very big event this Saturday that we are hosting at the high school. So I wanted to say thank you to the high school staff for allowing us to use their facility. It is the 7th grade SVC volleyball tournament. And it's a great day of volleyball. It is all day long. We'll be here, both gyms, games going on all day. So if you don't have anything to do Saturday and you're tired of being cooped up in the snow and everything, come on out and see some great volleyball games. Do you have any questions for me?
No. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
All right, I think all the snow will be melted by Saturday, actually, because it's supposed to be warm again. I just have a couple of things. You know, Ryan took all my time, so I'm just going to be really brief here. To highlight something additional, last weekend, our Scholastic Bowl team won their conference tournament, the Lincoln Prairie Conference, so they're varsity conference champs, so that was a pretty awesome thing. You might have seen a picture on that on Facebook. The other thing I wanted to mention, Jake said that I kind of got a preview logo. If you haven't been in my office yet, one of my office walls has a really cool Blue Ridge logo that takes up most of the wall with the new shield and sword thing in there. So pop in sometime and check it out and see what it looks like. So any questions?
Any questions you want? All right, appreciate it. Thank you. Moving on to curriculum page.
He's setting me up. So the worst part about going last is everyone takes your information you are going to share. So I was going to talk about strategic planning, my goal for looking into AP courses, dual credit, the EFE courses. I've been talking a lot to Parkland College. One of the topics that we talked a lot about that I was really excited about was they offer a dual credit, which is it's similar to what we used to have called freshman foundations, only it would be for a foundation for kids who are going to be moving on to college after high school, and it would count as an elective that would transfer to any school. I believe it's 4 credit hours, and it would be talking to them about study habits, testing centers, supports when you're in college, just really good skills that I wish I would have had something like that when I was entering college for the first time. So I'm still exploring, and so as I get more information, I'll bring that back to you. I've been working in Mansfield a lot on Comeback 2022. I put some of that in my report. And then finally, a lot of my time has been focused on getting ready for our Institute Day on Friday. Not sure what that's going to look like, so I might be doing a lot of replanning tomorrow for that. We'll just kind of see how that plays out. But do you have any questions about my report?
No. Thank you. And you've get the technology again in operation, maintenance, and transportation, food services reports in your board book. I don't think any of them are here to say anything. Moving on to approval of consent items. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items listed on attachment A as presented. Francie?
Second.
And
Thank you, Kenna.
who seconded it?
Kenna, couldn't you hear her?
No. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. We have the old business, moving to that. We have the second press reading, policy 108.
You can see that Press 108 had a very large number of policies, and Chelsea and Kenna are on that policy committee, so they spent a good amount of time along with me reading through those policies. I don't know if there are any things that Chelsea or Kenna you'd like to point out.
I reviewed them last month, so no, I think I asked you any questions I had, so.
Yeah, okay. So I think we're all good. If you're wanting to approve that, if you want to ask any questions, you're welcome to.
All right, no further questions. Then I need a motion and a second to approve the policy updates for Press 108 for Blue Ridge Community Unit School District 18 for the 2021-22 school term as presented.
So moved.
All right, Chelsea.
Second.
Francie.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Moving on to revised bus lease proposal for 2022-2023.
Okay, just January of 2022, we had approved for the Transportation Department to lease 3 83 passenger buses. After that was approved, we were contacted by the company to say that the 83 passenger buses with hydraulic brakes were being put on hold for production due to some safety concerns. They would be available to us with air brakes only. And we only have one person on our transportation team who is qualified to be on a bus with air brakes. So Deborah came back and asked if we would consider going back to a 78 passenger bus, gas bus with hydraulic brakes. And so we just wanted to confirm that that's the direction that we should go in for our 3 bus leases for next year.
Any questions? Need a motion and a second to approve the lease of 3 78 passenger gas buses from Midwest Transit for the 2022-2023 school year for Blue Ridge School District 18 as presented.
So moved.
Rusty. Second, Dale.
Yes.
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 Yes. Sick day allotment, 2021-2022.
Okay, we've had some changes on this today. House Bill 2778 was vetoed by Governor Pritzker recently. This is the bill that is talking about basically pardoning any time that was used by any school district employee due to COVID, whether they were tested positive or somebody in their family and they had to care for them, or they were asked to quarantine due to close contact. This morning I met with Travis Bushu, and the report was that nothing new had come across his table yet. And then literally this afternoon, probably about 4:30, 5 o'clock, I got an email with a link from the ROE that is talking about some action on this bill. I contacted Jeff Funk, and he had not even heard about that yet. It's 118 pages long, so I did not have time to read the whole entire document yet. But it's looking at the governor potentially pardoning any of those COVID days based upon vaccination status for employees. That's what it looks like at first glance to me. There is some language in there that's a little bit questionable to me because it talks about unless a district has already provided additional sick day allotment. So with Jeff Funk not seeing that yet and not having any idea what's inside of it, I would guess that we might want to table this for a month before we go on. We had talked about it last month, wanting to provide some help for a lot of we have some district staff who have been quarantined multiple times and have used all of their sick bank. We had talked about the board, if we decided to move in that direction, making it a blanket statement for all employees, not based upon you get 10 days and you get 3 days based upon what their absentee record was. I think that's what the governor is going to give, but we had talked about giving a blanket amount, so I think it would be okay to table that perhaps for a month and see what comes out of this bill and what our district attorney would advise.
All right. Tabled.
Okey-doke.
New business, athletic official pay scale.
Okay. you saw a sneak peek at this last month, but we didn't have it in time on the agenda. But we wanted to, turn to page 382, wanted to bring a proposal for some increased rates for athletic officials at the high school level. I did check with Shauna Cole-Ross, the AD at the junior high level. She said no changes were needed. They were in line with everybody else. So what they're proposing at the high school would be soccer, no change for 22-23. High school volleyball would be $80 for JV or varsity, $37.50 per tourney match. High school football would go up a little bit to $80 per official. Boys and girls basketball, you can see the prices there, $125, $77.50, and $62.50. And then high school softball and baseball, $67.50 for a single game, $125 or $92.50. And then no change for the high school ticket takers. And between Mr. Easter and Mr. Miles, they estimated it would be about a $700 annual increase over where we are right now. That's to keep us competitive, because not only is it hard to find drivers and other people to fill spots, it's also becoming hard to find officials.
You're not around anymore. Any questions on that? A motion and a second to accept the athletic official pay increase proposal for Blue Ridge High School effective for the 2022-2023 school year as presented. Carlos?
Second.
Francie?
Yes.
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 Yes. Summer positions?
Okay, took a new method there and tried to put all the summer hiring positions together in one location to make it a little bit easier for everyone. We have a couple things going on with summer school. I'll start with what happens first. We're calling it spring school at the high school. We want to help those who need a little credit recovery in ELA. They're going to do that during the school year, so we call that spring school, because we have some folks who need both the ELA credit recovery and the math credit recovery, so it makes sense to offer one at one time of the year and the next at another time of the year. So between the teachers, it will just work out for ELA to be called spring school, so it happens before the school year's out, and then we can do math credit recovery specifically for Math 1 during summer school. And then summer school at Snyder and BRIJHS, again, this is being offered in response to COVID and skills that have not been mastered, focusing on those core standards. So we're looking at, 9 general education teachers between Snyder and intermediate junior high, 1 special education teacher, and 6 paraprofessionals to run that 2-week program during the summertime. And then Ryan, this would be year number 3, I think, for Kindergarten Jumpstart. That's where we invite the kindergartners to come in and get used to some of the building locations and routines right before school starts. And so we've had 3 gen ed teachers and 3 paraprofessionals support that, and we'd like to do that again, if we may. Our bridge program, instead of being an all summer program, we'd like to have a couple days during the summertime. We'd like to hire 6 teachers, not that we're going to have all 6 here at the same time, but we're going to have some come in for a half day. This might be a 2-day program or a 1-day program over the summertime where we get them acclimated to the building and to some of the staff. And then, like Mr. Easter has done this year, then they continue to meet with those students monthly at lunchtime throughout the year. We found that the summer work was great, and we could get them through the first quarter very well, but sometimes then we had a drop off and grades started to go down. So we felt like it was important to keep some consistency with that program and continue to meet with the students in need throughout the school year. And then we'll get away from the education part and go to O&M. O&M, typically during the summertime, we have 2 extra workers that help with some of the painting tasks and cleaning up things, extra deep cleaning. And then because we have Douglas with us, instead of hiring 2 summer workers for the technology department, we would need only 1. So that's what we are asking for to help us with the summer jobs that we have.
So that number for the O&M department is way lower than what it used to be. It seemed like we were always hiring quite a few individuals during that time. Is that because more of the staff are going to be working, or what's?
That I've seen 2 for the last couple of years. I didn't know it used to be larger than that.
Okay. I remember the years that seemed like 5, 6 people were being hired at times. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'll come back and ask for more if we have other
I
projects.
was like, that's great. At least we know things are getting done during the school year too, so that's great. All right.
They're working
Any
hard.
questions on that? All right, I need a motion and a second to approve the following spring summer positions: 20 general education teachers, 1 special education teacher, 9 paraprofessionals, 2 summer O&M workers, and 1 summer technology worker as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Carlos, Kenna.
Yes.
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 Yes. Moving to PMA Financial Advisory Agreement.
Okay, PMA is a group that you've heard of before. Steve Adams has come and presented to us multiple times. He is the one who helped us through our bond refinancing. As Susan was leaving, I was taking over, and then 2 different issues last year. So I did an informal conversation with Steve regarding our 10-year HLS review in order for us to continue to work with him to talk about the HLS bond process. We need to sign that agreement saying that you are in agreement for me to work with him. And I'll just give you a little update. If our HLS work was to the tune of about $2.5 million, we do have issue of bonds, our 2013, I believe, bonds are callable at the end of this year. And he sees a very easy way to kind of dovetail those bonds together without causing increase to the taxpayer. So I was excited about hearing that information. And so we're ready to start working with him if you advise us to do so.
Questions on that? Like a motion, a second to approve the financial advisory agreement with PMA as presented.
So moved. Chelsea.
Second.
Francie.
Yes.
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 Yes. Need a motion, a second to move from open session to closed session for appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, dismissal of specific employees of the district, ongoing, pending, or probable litigation, and collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives at 8:17 p.m. Carlos?
Second.
Rusty?
Yes.
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 Yes.